Thank you for joining us. John chapter 7, verse 18. And Jesus had just said in John 17, if you really want to do God's will, you're going to know that the Bible is God's word. And Jesus said, you're going to know that the words that I say are really the words of God as opposed to the musings of a man. And then he goes on in verse 18 and he tells them why they're not accepting his words. It's because of their attitude toward glory. You know, in the first sin that was ever committed, of course, the flesh was appealed to, but also this pride thing. There was self-gratification, you know, pleasing to the eye and pleasing to the taste, but then also Satan said, you'll become as God. You know, it's like, ooh, boy. And so there's that self-glorification. And I find it really interesting that Romans 3:23 doesn't just say all have sinned. It says all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. Failing to glorify God, we want ourselves to be glorified as opposed to God being glorified. And that's pride. And pride is so sneaky that most people don't admit that they have sinful pride. And so in verse 18 of chapter 7, he says, he who speaks from himself seeks his own glory. Oh, look what I know, you know. But he who is seeking the glory of the one who sent him, that would be Jesus, he is true, genuine. There is no unrighteousness in him. Christ is saying, this is God in the flesh that's talking to you, and I'm interested only in glorifying my Father, not in glorifying myself. But you go back to chapter 5, verse 44, and he's speaking to these same guys in chapter 5. How can you believe when you receive glory from one another, and you do not seek the glory that's from the one and only God? So once again, it's an attitude thing. It's a desire thing. If you want to know God's truth, if you want to follow God's truth, if you want God to be glorified as opposed to you being glorified, God says, I can do that. Matter of fact, I want to. We're created to glorify him. Have a great day. I'm all done.